There's another little trick I wanted to show you, and that is how to use clay to make prints or stamps, a bit like we used to when we were children with potato cuts. So the clay is a very nice receptive area that you can actually engrave into, and then use an ink to just lightly ink that surface and then press it down. So this is a block printing ink, which I like because it's slightly stickier than a normal water-based ink. So I've put a little tiny bit in there. You don't need a lot. And you've got sticks, or you have things that you can press into the clay, textured objects that might leave an impression. You never know what will happen. So you might want to experiment a little bit. So that's come out rather nicely. And if I wanted to, I could also take this a little bit further and add other details. Or you could just make your own thing from scratch. So what I would do now is just to apply the paint, which is quite sticky, as I said. But what is nice about it is that it won't sink into everything. You just have to make sure that you go into all the little spaces, and maybe use the flat of the brush to apply the ink with. So the pieces that are indented are not going to pick up the ink, which is what we want. And now we can just try and see what happens when we press it down. Now the pressure in the middle, I'm just putting a bit more pressure because, as you saw, it was quite sunk. And then you can peep. And I can see that the middle hasn't appeared at all. So I'm going to push it down a little bit harder in the middle. And I get something that looks a little bit fossil-like. And sometimes you could do it again and even work into this again. Strengthen some of those things or add new ones. You get the idea. And this is a kind of a spiral, so I'm going to make that center a little bit more prominent. And you could even just use that as a guideline to do your own thing. But let me just try this out again now. This is the second one. Sometimes the second one is a bit more satisfying than the first one because it's paler. And it even looks now even more fossil-like. So now imagine I use different colors and different colored inks, and then you could also make overlaps. And now press a little bit harder, and you can use those now as the start of an artwork. It almost looks like two eyes of an owl, so that could inspire a whole new little artwork. Very simple.